Okay, you've had the chance to be in the cabinet, no? So I presume in the decision-making process, you've had a good, close look. The perception of a lot of people is the president makes mistakes because her advisors give her wrong advice. Ngayon, why are you not blaming her advisors? Why are you blaming her?
Some people say that a president is only as good as her advisors. That is assuming that she has no brain of her own or that she is completely incompetent. I would say that if a president is a good president, he would at least have the ability to choose good advisors. And that is an essential requisite of a good president, to surround himself or herself with good advisors.
Okay. Today, the cabinet had a meeting in Malacanang. They spent the whole meeting on the issue of graft and corruption. Apparently, the administration feels that something has to be done. This is part of what you raised as a valid issue. Now, well, I don't want to call them propagandists, but friends of the administration say that there is corruption, but it is not at the top. It is at the bottom. Response, please.
I don't agree with that. I think that is palabas. I think this is public knowledge that graft and corruption is one of the greatest failures of this administration. This administration, and I was present when Cory AQUINO made that promise to the people that aalisin daw lamang niya, aalisin daw kapag siya'y inihalal ng bayan, hindi lamang ang gambling casinos, titigil daw niya ang graft and corruption. But many people believe that the graft and corruption during the first 2 years of this AQUINO administration matches the last years of the past regime.
One of the things they raise against you too is the matter of timing. You have terrible timing, according to them. You decide to break away when the Malaysian hostages are about to be released, when the hostages in Quezon are going to be released. So you're, and then the oil price.
I don't agree with that, Louis. You're talking about timing insofar as popularity is concerned. I am not concerned with popularity. Malacanang is concerned with popularity. Something has to be done. It has to be made known to the people, regardless of the consequences on one's popularity.
Okay, we only have a few minutes left. The wife of an officer of Class 71 would like to tell you, members of Class 71, some members would like to congratulate you for breaking away from the administration of Cory AQUINO. Mrs. Carmen Camacho of Malate, can you express your opinion as to why the current administration is not doing anything about harboring NPAs in government offices?
Well, that was the reason why I tendered my resignation as Secretary of Foreign Affairs. I submitted a report after 8 days of dialogue with the military in 14 military camps. And one of my recommendations, exactly on the basis of the grievances expressed by the military, is that there are perceived to be left-leaning members or officials in the government, and the military would like them out.
Okay, Bert Garcia of Novaliches, Vice President Laurel, ano ang nagawa ninyo nung nanunungkulan kayo bilang Foreign Affairs Secretary laban sa graft and corruption sa Foreign Affairs Office?
Nalinis ko, hindi naman ako nagyayabang, pero ang passport, yung tinatawag nilang consular affairs, was cleaned up. We were able to break syndicates there, and we made a real overhaul of the system, and we were able to clean up the passport division.
Gladys Tebrino of PSBA, Vice President Laurel, if ever President Aquino agrees to have a snap election, will you run as a presidential candidate?
I will cross the bridge when I get there.
By Violeta Marangan, Quezon City, supposing you admit in public that both you and Mrs. Aquino really didn't win the last snap presidential election, will that fact pressure her to step down?
No, I will not admit that in public, Louis, because I believe that Cory and I, in all sincerity, won that snap election. Only we cannot prove it because we don't have the documents, but I think the people have recognized our legitimacy. The subsequent or posterior electoral exercises have validated or legitimized our election, and the entire Filipino people, including the opposition, have recognized our election, and all the nations of the world have recognized this government.
Comment, Matet Cruz, Legazpi Village, hindi ka mananalong Vice President kung hindi kay Cory AQUINO. They'd like your comment.
Well, that is one opinion, and I don't agree with that.
Okay. what about this coalition that you joined? Do they have a program of government? Is there a moral dimension to the group that you have just joined? Are you now, in fact, the head of the opposition?
Oh,
group?
not yet. I've been offered the leadership of the coalesced or united opposition. I have not yet indicated my acceptance, but there are many committees now at work formulating the platform and so forth.
When you were in the cabinet, we're going to talk insurgency in a few minutes. When you were in the cabinet, were you aware of any counterinsurgency program being implemented by the administration?
None, and that's the reason I resigned as Foreign Secretary. I wanted an all-out, comprehensive anti-insurgency policy, and I was fighting for that. And when President Aquino ignored my importunings to have such a policy, I resigned. That was after visiting all the military camps. And a good example of that is Quezon. And the best evidence, or Exhibit A of that, of how bad the peace and order situation is, and is Governor, one of your guests tonight, Governor Eddie Rodriguez, who was kidnapped at the height of the campaign. So at the time when I was about to proclaim, he was not there. So much so that I asked for a postponement of the elections in Quezon.
So you've mentioned that there's no counterinsurgency program in the administration.
None.
In your incumbency as foreign secretary, there was no foreign policy.
In my opinion, there was no direction. Not from Malacanang.
Well, at least in one area, the administration claims they've succeeded, the economic recovery. There is an economic boom. They're on their way to improving.
I don't think there is economic recovery yet. I disagree with that.
Do you agree that steps have been taken to improve the economic picture?
Well, there have been steps taken, but it's not going into a definite direction. That is one of my, that was one of the things I mentioned in the letter.
Okay, I think a lot of people would like to know the selection process for the cabinet. You agreed during the campaign that 50% of the cabinet would be nominated by you. Eventually, how many were allowed to be nominated by you, and how do they select cabinet ministers?
Not even one. I didn't get even one.
You didn't get to appoint a single one?
A single one. And all my recommendees were just ignored.
How were the other cabinet ministers chosen?
I don't know how. She never consulted me.
So the point is, from day one of the administration, you were not consulted.
From day one, I was excluded. And I don't want to, abutin tayo ng magdamag, Louis.
Okay, balikan ho natin. Yung isang issue against the laurels, no? Although a lot of laurels have served with the government, ang isang issue rin na kinatatakutan ng maraming tao, pagkaroon bumoto ka sa isang laurel, hindi isang tao lang ang ibinoboto mo, kundi isang buong pamilya. Is that a valid issue as far as you're concerned?
Ang sagot ko dyan, Louis, ito hindi sa pagbubuhat ng sariling bangko. My father has served the government for 50 years. My brother, the former speaker, has been speaker of the House 3 times. I have served as senator and member of the Batasan and in the government. I do not think anybody can point an accusing finger to any member of the family for any kind of graft and corruption. I take pride in that.
Okay, we've reached the end of our one-on-one interview. Would you like to say a parting word?
Well, I'd like to just address a very brief appeal to our people, ang mga minamahal nating kababayan, lalo-lalo na yung mga nakikinig dyan sa kanilang mga bahay. Hindi ko na isasali yung mga nasa katungkulan, lalo na yung matataas ang katungkulan. At hindi ko na isasali yung mga nakikinabang sa administrasyon, itong current administration. Ang gusto ko sanang gawin ngayong gabi ay magtanong lamang ng 3 tanong. Are you better off now than you were 30 months ago, before this administration took over? Second, do you feel safer now in your homes and in the streets than you felt 30 months ago? And third, do you feel that there is less graft and corruption now than there was during the last years of the previous regime? While your answer to these questions will decide whether my resignation was justified or not. While there is no, in my opinion, a response to the promises that have not been fulfilled by President Aquino. President Aquino behaves like an innocent bystander, hoping that the problems will simply solve themselves. I think it is time now to separate those who believe that the present or current administration is doing a wonderful job, they should join forces, fine. They should support President Aquino. But all those who believe that she is not doing a good job, that she is making a mess out of the present situation, should also join forces.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Vice President. We'll go back to our topic on insurgency right after a few reminders.
A walk to freedom last Sunday of 5 soldiers held hostage by the New People's Army for 75 days in Quezon Province has given the insurgency a new dimension. But for those caught in the deadly crossfire, the conflict only serves to heighten their fears.
Yung sana'y magkaunawaan na yung magkabi-kabilang panig dahil ang naiepektuhan ang pangkaraniwang mamamayan. Sa pagbabanggaan ng militar at NPA, pangkaraniwang mamamayan, lalo't higit ang magbubukid ang siyang naiepektuhan dahil sila nasa kanayunan.
Nobody here in our province can deny that. It is very obvious that insurgency here is existing.
Lalo na sa Gumaka, yung barangay namin daming nabubugbog ng militar.
Anong pagbubugbog? Yung physical? Yung sinasaktan?
Sinasaktan, tapos yung isang barangay, mismong barangay namin, nabomba, binumba ng doon halos maraming nasaktan. Pero
sitwasyon ng mga tao. Mabuti ho naman, kundi kung minsan itong nagdaang linggo, medyo naguguluhan yata ang mga sibilyan. No?
ganito rin ho, tahimik.
Frequency ng mga encounters nangyayari dito, mas madalas unlike before. Ngayon, mas marami. Ngayon sila, town by town.
The picture that emerges is one of uncertainty and confusion. The problem is complex and deeply rooted.
Ewan ko ba kung anong pinag-aalaman nila Hindi.
There should be really, I think, a good analysis of what is behind insurgency. So insurgency in medical terms is more a symptom rather than the disease,
Most of the people, I think, are really somehow neglected. Most especially yung mga nasa countrysides nga. Kaya itong mga NPA nito, hindi masyadong nahihirapan mag-recruit.
Lalo na sa panahon ngayon, napakahirap ng buhay, tapos hindi pa nasusuportahan ng gobyerno ang nasa kanayunan. Kasi lalo na sa kanayunan ngayon, napakahirap ng buhay.
May mga naitulong din naman ng gobyerno dito.
Sa nasaksihan ko, mismo sa aming barangay, nasa panig ng pamahalaan, yung sinasabing tagapagtanggol ng mamamayan, ang siya pang nagdudulot ng kahirapan, unang takot sa mamamayan.
Kaya lang nagkakaguloy kung yung dadating ang militar, natatakot sila.
Okay, you have insurgency in terms of the NPA, the CPP, who have taken up arms. But in a way, there is the seed of insurgency in the heart of many Filipinos. Discontent is a seed of insurgency. It will break out in different forms, It may not, Filipinos with that seed may not go to the hills, but different kinds of manifestations,
Hope, however, remains bright in the hearts of the people whose lives were touched by the war.
Kaya manwari sila magkasundo. Tayo na may parehong Pilipino, ay tayo magkaisa ng damdamin. Sa aking palagay lang, yan. Because of ideology, diyan sila naglalaban.
But others remain skeptical.
Hindi naman naalis yun Sa tingin ko, hindi naalis kahit nung umupo si Mrs. Aquino. It is still there.
Parang may hinanakit nga sila.
Hindi yun ang pangunahing pangailangan ng mamamayan. Dahil ang hinahangad nga naming mga magbubukid, yung sariling lupa na mapapagkabuhayan, yun sana ang hinihinging ibigay o tugunan ng pamahalaan.
Instead of allowing people power to blossom and to be an alternative to our future, there is continual repression of people power. I believe in people, that's why I speak this way.
What you just saw are a set of interviews done by our investigative team in Quezon, in the area where the NPA are. Some of the people that you watched being interviewed live in what the armed forces likes to call NPA-influenced barangays. They live right in the heart of it. And tonight's topic for the second part of our show is insurgency. I'd like to introduce our guests. To my right, we have Attorney Narciso Montero,